I'm going to be the one to say it. I think Dave Dombrowski is back. He is cooking once again this morning as the Phillies have now acquired Jesus Luzardo from the Miami Marlins in exchange for two Phillies prospects. We have seen all offseason that Dave Dombrowski is continuing to stretch pitching, specifically starting pitching and bullpen too. But now he is officially cooking. This Phillies new rotation is absolutely nasty. We got this original report this morning from Robert Murray of Fansided saying that the Phillies have acquired Jesus Luzardo from the Miami Marlins, according to a source familiar with the deal. We then learned this package itself from Matt Gelb of The Athletic. In addition to Luzardo, Phillies are getting minor league catcher Paul McIntosh from the Marlins. The full trade is Jesus Luzardo and Paul McIntosh for Starlin Caba and Amarion Boyd, two top sort of ish prospects for the Phillies. Starlin Caba is mainly the bigger one in this deal. He, I believe, is the number 4th prospect in the Phillies organization. He is a young shortstop who has a pretty bright future, but the issue with Caba so far sort of has kind of been his hitting. It hasn't necessarily progressed to where the Phillies wanted to get it to, but now, as this says, he is now a Miami Marlin, and the Phillies, I'm going to say, probably have the best starting rotation in baseball. You take a guy in Luzardo who was hurt last year. He was battling some injuries last year, but here's where this gets really intriguing because he's 27 years old, and he is nasty. His 2022 and 2023 seasons were awesome. He had a 3.32 in 2022 and 100 innings with 120 strikeouts. And in 178 innings in 2023, he had a 3.58 with over 200 strikeouts in 176 innings. This guy can pitch. He's got stuff. He is a finesse left-handed pitcher that can really put guys back to the dugout. He is a fantastic strikeout pitcher that is really sort of the way that he moves when he's on the mound. But this is an awesome get for the Phillies. This is a guy that is now taking this rotation to the next level because I think we know what this Phillies rotation is already. We have Zack Wheeler, who is now a two-time runner-up in a Phillies uniform for the Cy Young Award. Probably the best pitcher in the entire sport. You have Aaron Nola, who had a really good year last year. A veteran. He doesn't miss starts. He strikes people out. Everybody knows what Aaron Nola can do. Christopher Sanchez, you now have this guy who the Phillies signed to an unbelievable contract extension last year. Now Sanchez is here for the future. Now he might be the second best lefty in your rotation because Christopher Sanchez has been awesome. Specifically last year, multiple complete games, best season of his career, an all-star last year. Ranger Suarez, who I think we all know Ranger's deal, a workhorse, another awesome lefty in your rotation. Ranger is on an expiring contract, and we have heard his name sort of floated around in some trade talks this offseason, but it does seem that Ranger is here to stay as of right now. And now you add Jesus Luzardo to this group, who once again has just been freaking nasty for the Marlins when he's healthy. This guy has shut out so many different Phillies. There's videos going all around the timeline of him making Harper look silly, making Turner look silly, making Schwarber look silly, right? Like, this guy has the stuff. But the biggest reason this trade kind of stands out to me is because here from Nathan Ackerman, and I completely agree. This is really one of the first times we've seen the Dave Dombrowski that we heard about. When the Phillies signed Dave Dombrowski, everybody was saying that the Phillies got a guy that is going to be ready to buy and get rid of prospects and win now. And while the Phillies have been incredibly successful in Dave Dombrowski's tenure, you haven't really seen a ton of the prospect moving. This is really the first time that Dave Dombrowski has moved a top 5 prospect. And like Nathan says here, the Jesus Luzardo trade is the first time we're seeing the Dave Dombrowski we heard about when the Phillies got him back in 2020. And to do it with just Caba and Boyd is highway robbery if Luzardo is anything close to the 2022-2023 version. And I will say this, he is absolutely correct, because I do sort of want to not denounce his last season, because it wasn't good. It wasn't that great. He was allowing some home runs, not a ton of strikeouts. He pitched 12 games, a 5 flat ERA, a 1.245 WHIP. But once again, he was dealing with injury last year. He was not himself last year. And I feel really confident that they're getting a guy in Luzardo who, one, is only 27 years old. He's still young. He's shown the stuff already. He's shown that he has the stuff. And putting him with Caleb Cotham now, I think is only really going to help him. I think there's times in sports where you see guys leave bad organizations, go to good ones, and just immediately become better. I mean, we've seen it with Shohei. Shohei Ohtani somehow got better from when he played with the Angels, right? We've seen it with other guys across this league. Like, if you put good players onto good teams, they usually just continue to get better. And I think that's what the Phillies are really hoping for here with Luzardo. They don't want the 2024 version. They want the 2022 and the 2023 version that they know is still in there. This is a guy who once again, he's young. He's already experienced the game. He's already pitched in the playoffs. He knows playoff baseball. Granted, it was one game and it was against the Phillies, but this guy knows how Citizens Bank gets in October. This was an unbelievable trade. I love it. I love it. I love it. Once again, I mean, you can just kind of look at some of these stats here. Like, strikeout per nine's just flying over 10, like, multiple years. Everything about this trade I freaking love. Because once again, this rotation is now the best rotation in baseball. You have the Mariners, you have the Dodgers, but the issue right now is the Dodgers rotation can't stay healthy. You have to base it off of what is on the field. And by what is on the field, the Phillies, as a mix of playoff performance and durability and stuff and performance, the Phillies have the best rotation in baseball. That is flat out what it is. And honestly, they arguably had it before Luzardo. That four-man rotation last year was disgusting. Obviously, that fifth spot was not good last year for the Phillies. But now adding Luzardo to, once again, a lineup with Wheeler, Nola, Suarez, Sanchez, Luzardo. And I haven't even mentioned that Andrew Painter's on the way yet. So I do want to sort of talk about that real quick too, because that could sort of lead into one of these guys possibly going to the bullpen. Because obviously we know the six-man rotation doesn't really happen a lot here. A lot of the pitchers don't like it. It kind of throws them off of their sort of routine. But right now, this sort of screams to me that it would either be Suarez or Painter, at least for this year. The Phillies have made it known that they are going to limit Andrew Painter's innings. He's not going to come in this year and throw 175 innings. So I wonder there if Painter starts to get in the zone here, and they do want to continue to limit these innings. If we got to playoff time or later in the regular season, if they would consider just sort of stashing Painter as a top bullpen arm just later in the season. And once again, that is not saying that he's going to stay there. He's going to be a starter and hopefully the number one starter on this team for many years to come. But we've seen some teams across the league sort of ease their top guys in by using them out of the bullpen. And I think the other option for the bullpen would probably be Ranger Suarez. We've seen sort of that he can pitch to the best of his ability wherever you throw him. He closed out the NLCS 2 years ago. He was basically the Swiss Army knife back in 2022 when the Phillies went to the World Series. Suarez gives you options, which I think is really big for this team. They have options, and they have 6 freaking really, really, really good starters. So with that is it for me today. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. What do you think of the trade? Who would be your sort of odd man out in the bullpen? And are you apologizing to Dave Dombrowski? Because I'm not saying this offseason was a complete 100% success, But as far as the pitching market, they absolutely nailed it. So once again, that is it for me on Phillies Digest, and we will see you guys next time.